Hello, and welcome to Mind Your Head, a space for people to share their stories, talk openly and honestly about their own mental health challenges, and to give some listeners some comfort in knowing you're not alone. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we record this podcast, the Gubbi Gubbi people. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Indigenous peoples. We honour their enduring connection to the land, waters and culture, and recognise their invaluable contributions they make to our communities. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
This episode is proudly supported by True Protein. Use the code MINDYOURHEAD at the checkout to score $25 off your next order. This episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself.
So did she start the business and then you came in?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so she started her journey.
Yeah.
We started the journey together, psychs and the traditional therapies, and it wasn't getting us anywhere. It was actually just keeping us stuck, and I'd change psychs every couple of months because there wasn't nothing happening for me.
Really?
And
why do you think that is?
They just kept on putting me into the same point. There was no sort of looking for the root cause of my trauma, and it was it was really surface level, and it was a Band-Aid, which was like everything has its purpose, though it just wasn't happening for me. And it was actually giving me an excuse and kind of making things worse almost.
Was it years of that? Years of sort of traditional therapy? Yeah.
Even our marriage therapist was like, you guys need to go your separate ways. Like basically told us to split.
To split up?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, and again, Nadine led the way. And I knew it too, and I was like, no, it's not, that doesn't feel right for us.
That won't solve the problem.
No.
Yeah.
And then we were on the road at the time, and Nadine, she was dragging me along. She was pulling me along. Yeah, she was like, we need to do this together. We need to do this together. And then she's like, and I was just massive victim mentality of this hasn't gone my way. This hasn't gone my way. All of my life.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
Then she's like, fuck it. I'm going to go on the biggest journey of myself and this self-discovery, and just dove into development and the inner work and the shadow work and all of the names that everyone calls it.
Yeah,
yeah. And then during that, she's like, I get to do this for people now.
Yeah.
And was only probably within a month, because I was listening to, she was doing it all via Zoom, and I was listening to these things. To begin with, I was like, this is crazy. I'm happy you're doing it, but I'm never going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though unconsciously, I started to sort of unravel a few things in my head about my childhood and things that used to trigger Nadine weren't triggering. I'm like, what's this is weird. What's going on here? This would be an argument usually, and I was like, there must be something to this. And during that time, because we had really huge growth really quickly, and we had like 10 people working for us, and I was just in the back end. Yeah. And I was like, maybe I better go do some courses and things to know what everyone's talking about in the team meetings.
Yeah.
And did that. And it was, I guess, a security blanket of, I'm doing this for the company and doing this for Nadine and maybe a little bit for myself. Though within the first day, I was like, messaging Nadine, I was like, I'm not here for you. I'm not here for anyone else. I'm here for fucking me. This is the best thing. Yeah. And that was it. And then literally 8 weeks after that, we had our first men's retreat.
Oh, really? So what did it resolve between you as a couple? Because Jordan and I were 7 years apart in terms of age, but we've been brought up very differently.
Yep.
She's been very sheltered, and she openly admits that she's had a very sheltered life where hasn't experienced any hardship. She hasn't seen the harsh realities of life. Whereas, I got kicked out of home at 17, got put into the army, fend for yourself overseas playing footy, even though it was good like that. But it was kind of like I had to get grown up very, very quickly, and then seeing sort of the stuff in the military sort of open your eyes up to the real world. And we would have our arguments that we would have would all be about our communication styles. Yeah. So I'm very literal and logical, where if she says something, she doesn't actually mean that. She means something else, but I'm taking her on what she says. Yeah. So a lot of the things, like we've talked about couples therapy, and she sees a therapist, and we're actually going to start doing couples therapy and just to break down our communication style. So when we talk to each other, we both can get really defensive very quickly.
Dig your heels in.
Yeah, dig our heels in. And it's not until like 10 minutes later, we both are like, I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I reacted like that.
Yeah.
I can understand your point of view now. But it's just like that first, that first like communication styles that we have. She's been brought up with a mum where she sort of had to put her emotions aside to parent her mum. And so she was like thinking, you know, growing up that she had to put her emotions, like her emotions come second to everyone else's. So massive people pleaser. And when we first started dating, she was always like trying to please me. And I'm thinking like she's the best. Like she does like everything's. It's only until like, you know, years you get into it and actually get a little bit deeper as a couple, you actually figure out like, there's some actually deeper issues there.
So the big thing for Nadine and I, and actually we're off to New York in October, receiving award over at the Iconics in New York for our relationship work.
Really?
For, what's it called? Just being like really different. I forget, the words left me. Anyway, and because we approach it, so you can do all the communication work in the world. And it's going to help.
Jordan's listening too, by the way.
It's all going to help. However, until you learn how your partner receives information properly, it's not going to land. It's not going to be completely 100% working for you. Because like I said, there's 4 representational systems and we all have a dominant and that is how we give information, though it's also how we receive information.
Yes.
So when you come into our couples work, we base it on your representational system, not the actual communication work and how you receive. So for Nadine and I, what we found out was that it actually had, like, the work between us had nothing to do with our relationship. It was all individual work.
Really?
So we've got lots of different avenues where couples come in to work with us, though if it's in a 2-on-2, 3-month couples mentorship, the first 8 weeks they're not even together. It's separate work. And then they figure out and then they come together, because for most relationships, it's communication. Starts with communication, though it's when you're triggered or when you have those digging heels, it's just your little person inside protecting themselves, because that's how you've faced everything growing up.
That's what we've talked about. And I've just read the book, Internal Family Systems. And that was a huge thing for me to understand, that when I dig my heels in, it's just that little version of Elliot that, you know, had to protect himself or didn't feel loved or didn't feel worthy or someone was attacking him personally. And like I read that book, and Jordan and I talk about it too, because like they're the little versions of us that we keep trying to like push away or ignore and things like that. And like the biggest breakthroughs we've had sort of recently in terms of us being a couple is like she telling me, like, you know, from her childhood, you know, her mum sort of acting out, and then she's had to suppress her feelings or emotions, or told her feelings and emotions weren't valid. And like she's like, when I am like that, it's because of this. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I get it. So I think,
and it actually has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with me. But I feel like when you've got a partner, they almost highlight or mirror the things that you need to work on. Is that right?
100%. Yeah. That's we call it the gift gap. It's right. It's the gift in your partner that fills the gap for you. Yes. So they're like, we're the biggest mirrors for each other. Yes. They're going to activate everything in you. We trying to throw that trigger word out and use the activation in you to go, oh, this is what I need to work on for myself. And that was evident for Nadine and I, because we were so different. Like, fell madly in love really quickly. We were engaged after 2 months.
Wow.
Married, like, together for 13 years now, 2 beautiful boys. And we were so different in so many ways, but there was just this connection. And it was like what we know now is I was here and she's been here to show me all of the shit in me, and vice versa. So
it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Unfortunately, there's going to be so many couples that won't make sense of it or won't get to their point in their relationship to figure that out. Because
why is that? Out of fear or
stubbornness, fear, societal, all of it.
Oh, really?
Like and there's a lot of, it's scary facing the man in the mirror. It really is. It's like, for a lot of people, they won't get to experience that, which is really, I mean, it's sad because it really blocks out a whole part of their life, because facing that man in the mirror, healing and growing is what I believe is the actual key to start really enjoying and like a fulfilling life, because it's so crazy, the human mind, that we want to keep ourselves in chaos, and there's safety in that, like safety in chaos. Like that's was me in a past version of myself, past version of Nadine. I'm sure a past version of you. Though it's crazy to think that we feel safe in chaos internally and externally.
And happiness or joy seems unsafe. You know, like a nice, calm, peaceful life just seems like, oh, this seems wrong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run away from that.
Yeah. And
or self-sabotage or something like that.
It's crazy. It's insane to think that that's what happens. But when people actually stop to think about that, they're like, oh yeah. Like I'm actually creating chaos. Like we all have patterns. Say you're in a relationship and there's a pattern of behavior, like it all leads to an explosion or a fracture in the relationship, and then a day or so later you make up, and then you might be intimate, and that continues. It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
That's exactly
because your unconscious mind's going, oh, this is great because if we cause this within us, then we get to be intimate, then we get to make up, and then it's all good again, and it's just a continuous cycle. So it's just closing those patterns so you're not in that cycle, and you can just have those moments all the time.
Because I found that when Jordan and I first started dating, there was like probably every like 3 or 4 months, I would have like a mental episode where something small that she had done would get me so angry for like 2 or 3 days. And then she would ask me, why are you so angry? And then I would say, I'm so angry because I'm angry. I know that I'm angry, and that makes me more angry.
Yep.
And then it would take me 2 or 3 days to calm down. And then I'd just be a prick to be around. And it would happen like every 6 months, and I would convince her every time it would happen. She was so nice and patient and like understanding, and she would try to chat to me about it, and it was me just digging my heels in, and I was just like, no, it's fine. Honestly, like I was just stressed because of work, stressed because of that, just whatever it was. But deep down, I knew there was something like I had to address. I felt it even when I was probably like 16 or 17. I remember going to Dad and telling him that like I felt different. Like these feelings that are coming up, I don't feel like they're normal. Like the way I react to situations, like I could sit down and watch a movie when I was a kid, and I wouldn't absorb any of the movie, and I'd just be internalizing every thought that happened that day, every action, everything that I said, what I did in the past, worrying about the future. Like I just could not be present at all.
Yeah.
And then like that's when you get a little bit older, you're in the footy culture, and then sort of drugs and alcohol come into it. And I just found that was like the only thing that could numb it all. Yeah,
well, that's right. I'm glad you said numb too, because a lot of people, and same, I grew up with it. I think for me, because I was at such a young age playing grade footy, so you're with the big boys and in that lifestyle, gambling, and that. I guess the big thing for me was I was never into the gambling side of things.
Yeah, neither.
I got turned off that really early. Which was really cool, though. The drinking and the drugs and the partying, it was so much fun. And I didn't have to think about it. And again, numbing everything.
I could just switch off.
Yep.
Yeah. And it became addictive. Like people ask me, were you addicted to drugs? And I never like label that, or I never see myself as addicted to drugs, but I was addicted to that feeling.
Yep.
That release, that calmness. Like people would always get on drugs.
The escape.
And they would go out and like go to a rave or go party. I could just sit down, be by myself, lay out in the backyard and almost go to sleep.
Yep.
Like it was that calming and soothing for me. I was just like, this is the best. Like I'm never going to find this anywhere else. Like, and it probably like, I think about it now, like I'm 34 and you talk about, some people never get to wake up and actually experience, the beauty of life. They're stuck sort of behind that little version of themselves. And I think I didn't, really start to get out of it until I was 30. And I look back and go, man, I had the funnest during my 20s, like that decade was so much fun. And I did some cool things and I experienced a lot of stuff, but I didn't feel like I felt like that was 10% of what Elliot was.
Yep.
And I felt like it was a bit of a blur. And even like looking back on memories and stuff, and I catch up with some old footy mates and they tell stories. I'm like, I don't remember any of that. Like, and I sort of almost like, it doesn't feel like that was me. And it's just now, even when I've just started doing the podcast, it feels like it's just now where I'm actually starting to live the life that I actually want to live.
Yeah.
Whereas I spent the last, 12 years almost floating through space.
Yeah. I'll make sense of that.
You make sense of that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's what I said. Yeah, like you found your purpose. Everybody gets to create impact in their own way, and this is your way of doing. I remember I come across a a clip of yours with someone I know, and I was just like, I loved your line of questioning, your demeanor, all of it. And I'm like, fucking, there's a man that's going to create impact through this, through speaking and the stories that you share and the people that you have on share. So there's so much comfort in finding purpose.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest, are we recording, by the way? Yeah, nice. I think one of the biggest things that I learned was actually leaning into the things that I like and actually what makes me me. Whereas before I leaned so into rugby because that was almost my identity, because I didn't think I was good at anything else, or I didn't think I offered the world anything else apart from being a footy player. So all the things that I liked, whether it be art or music or, you know, talking to people, having these sorts of conversations, I'll always hide that and just talk to footy slang or the culture, or just sort of just fit that one box. And I think a lot of it was, you know, I've always wanted to play the piano. I've always wanted to learn Spanish. Like, these are the things that I always wanted to do, but I didn't want to voice that when I was in the footy scene, because I was like, wait, so you're stepping outside the box. So you're Elliot, the footy player. And it wasn't until I started the podcast and I was so nervous and scared, and I realized, like, all these things that are happening in my life now, like 2 years on, all the people that I'm meeting, the doors that I've walked through, they wouldn't be possible if I actually didn't lean into myself and actually embrace the things that I used to be ashamed of, or embrace the things that I was so afraid to people to know. And even when I did the first episode, I was like, fuck, now, like, no one's gonna like it. Nor should that matter, but I was so worried about, like, how people would receive it. And then as soon as the first episode came out and friends and family loved it, I'm like, oh, maybe this isn't so scary after all. Maybe like I should do this more often.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Yeah,
and it opened up the gateway to, like, just doing things regardless of how it may seem or how it may look or what people might think about you. I found out people are going to judge you anyway.
100%.
You're like, people are always going to have something to say, so you may as well, like, do what you love.
And that fear, like, everything that we do that's really meaningful to us comes from challenge or fear, right? Like the things that mean most to us. Getting married, engaging, proposing, all those things, starting a fucking men's retreat that I had no idea of how and why and what, starting a podcast. Yeah. But those things where we face that challenge or that edge within are the things that mean the most to us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It is definitely like, and I credit who I am today with that, you know, obviously meeting Jordan, she's been the catalyst for me to actually, you know, wanting to make change. I don't know, I've spoken about it a little bit before, how she sort of gave me an ultimatum of, like, you know, the 6 months of me having episodes, and it was almost like 3 years into relationship where she sat me down after the last one was 2 years ago. I still remember it, and I remember coming back home and she was, you know, bawling her eyes out, and she said to me, I can cop this standard for me, but if you want to have kids someday, I'm not having this standard for our kids. You know, I can't afford you to go away for 3 days and be pissed off and not be a father. So she's like, if you want to search for the answers and understand yourself better and actually seek help and understand, like, who you are and why you're like this, I'm all for it. Like, I'll support you 100% of the way. But if you don't want to do all that, then I can't be here.
Yeah.
I can support you, but this has all got to be you. And I knew for years deep down, I was just full of procrastination and so scared of, like, what was going to come up.
Yeah.
So terrified.
And, like, that right there, what she did for you is the deepest form of love you will ever receive.
Yeah, for sure.
That, I know I've had moments like that with Nadine myself, man. Like, that's the love that we all deserve. Not that, oh, it's okay, you'll be right after 3 days. No, if you want to fucking do this with me, you need to change. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and I needed that. Like, I think I had too much wiggle room in terms of people sort of, you know, being too nice to me or just cradling me or giving me that sympathy. It's all right, mate. We'll sort it out later. And I took advantage of that. I took advantage of people treating me too nicely or giving me too much sympathy, or like, it's all right, mate, we'll try it again later. Or, you know, I needed someone, and for her to be like, to give me that sort of ultimatum, you know, and that was pretty much like the launching pad for me to understand who I am. And that's pretty much led to, I'd love to get your sort of thoughts about this as well. I should probably do an intro, but I actually want to get your thoughts. We're in a bit of a roll. I had a ton of concussions playing footy, and I went to a concussion clinic down in Sydney at Macquarie University, and we just did a whole lot of, like, data collection and scans and cognitive tests. And I was there for pretty much a full day, and they said, when was like the first concussion that you received? And I was thinking probably like maybe 16 years old. I remember sort of being the first time that I felt days and stars, and and she said, how many until like you stopped playing? And I was like, probably about 20. One really, really bad one where I got post-concussion syndrome, but then a multitude of other ones. So I was really worried that these mood swings were
part of that.
Yep. While I was so sort of irritable and so tense all the time. And so that's one part of it, and then I went through that journey. I was like, I wonder if there's something else, because Dad's got a side of schizophrenia and bipolar, and Dad had a really, really, really traumatic upbringing that I don't think he dealt with emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Dealt with it physically.
Yeah.
No violence in the house, no alcohol in the house, peaceful household. But I think, and I'm a big fan of Gabor Mate in terms of generational trauma. Like Dad was such a present and loving father, but he had demons that he never dealt with. And I was, the more I've chatted about this, and I've chatted to Dad about this, is I don't think he addressed the things, and I felt like he passed it on to us.
100%.
And I went to see a psychiatrist, and he put me on a spectrum of bipolar. And I was like, and he was explaining things, and I was like, oh yeah, that does sound right. Like sort of connecting the dots of how I'm sort of feeling in my highs and my lows and that sort of thing. But I was always back in me going, I wonder if I have got this condition, or if I was unable to regulate myself. I was always like, is that an easy thing for him to diagnose me with bipolar?
Yeah.
Or was it a thing with, I just never taught how to regulate myself. From a young age, I didn't know what emotions were. I didn't know the names of emotions. I didn't know what to do with them. All I knew was anger was bad. If you're an angry boy,
you get in trouble.
You get in trouble.
Yep.
You can't harness that and use that as a positive. And I grew up thinking that I never understood how to regulate myself. So in situations of stress, conflict, confrontation with myself or anyone else, it was always flight or fight.
Yep.
And I would either run or it would be a blow up. And both times, two options, I would think back and go, why did I do that?
Yeah.
I would always question it. And so that was like, so I don't know where the question is for you, but is there a difference between someone being diagnosed with bipolar or someone not being able to regulate their emotions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I truly believe, and this may cause some shit, that the medical industry are really quick to label and throw medication at lots of people. I had it myself. However, what we know, and there's studies behind it, that generational trauma is passed on through DNA, energy. So yes, what your dad, and it's no one's fault, it's just what happens. I've seen and done too much to know that it does exist. Like we've just finished our retreats for the last month, and seeing it and feeling it through there. So yes, I guarantee you, unknowingly, that he's passed that on to you, unfortunately, but he's had it passed on to him, and so on and so on. It's a line, seven generations back, 7 generations forward, and it's within the body. So yeah, you're like, and it just multiplies. So you're not only wearing your dad's, your grandfather's, your great grandfather's, you're also building your own. So your capacity for everything is just full. That's what we like to call the backpack of bullshit, the metaphorical. It gets filled up with all this shit over, and we have these moments of, like, I'm going to say that 99% of the world are living in their sympathetic nervous system, which isn't great. That's the fight or flight, which it's a really important nervous system to have, though being in it most of the time isn't healthy. So what we want is the parasympathetic nervous system, where we're all relaxed and feeling nice. After you go for a run or something and you're indoor, that's your
the exercise or something like that. It's
the
best feeling ever. That drive home from the gym or drive home from like doing some sort of physical activity, that 10 minutes in the car, I love that feeling.
It's when you're fully in your body, you're in your parasympathetic nervous system, and you're relaxed and calm, you're thinking clear, and that's where we need to be most of the time. Yes, fight or flight's really important for us, though, but to be in it most of the time is really unhealthy, and that's because, and it starts with something as simple as our breathing. Most people's breath are so shallow and reacting from that space. So
that's me.
Yeah,
there's bits of me sometimes where I'll do that. And it's almost like I'm breathing really shortly, and I catch myself going, I just need a deep breath. Like I just need to like, and just do
like
that.
Conscious, connected breath. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference.
Would that explain the episodes that I was having every 6 months where something little would irritate me to the point of, you know, losing my ability to, you know, regulate myself? Do you think that would...
Well, you didn't know how to regulate yourself to begin with. So, yeah, like as young men and girls too, though we'll speak about men, young boys at the moment is, don't be angry. That's bad. Don't be sad. Little boys don't cry.
Yes.
All of that, we're never shown how to regulate our emotions in a healthy way because our parents didn't know, their parents didn't know. And unfortunately, we're wearing that a lot now. And today, like you see it, there's, the marriage divorce rates are through the roof. One man every 60 seconds throughout this world takes his life. Like that alone should wake up people. People are saying, let's go to therapy. Yeah, cool. If therapy was working and the traditional societal norms of help was working, do you think the numbers would be where they are? Like I know that everything has its place, but it's not fucking working. So hate on that all you want, though it's right there in front of us. And little boys are getting labelled with ADD, ADHD, anger issues. He's so angry. It's because we've not let them actually be angry to begin with. So what do you, this bubbling volcano, and all of a sudden there's a snap. Oh, yep, ADD. So quick to label everything on them. And what is, and now that we know it, it's our actual obligation to let children feel all the feels, let them in a healthy way. There's so many things we're able to do to help them. Like I do breathwork with my boys most nights.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's only 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Though there's so many great ways. We've got lots of outlets through our company where children can join in with their parents and do these animal breathing techniques. It's just to make it fun. We do it with the boys every night, and they sleep so much better. My youngest, who's 6 years old, part of his daily rhythm or chores is 3 conscious breaths before he does anything.
Yeah.
And it just sets him up for the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's something so simple, regulation.
Can you talked about before how it's, you know, it's generational passed on. So it's not just my dad, it's the grandfather, and it goes all the way back. Can you break it in one generation? Like, can you break it with me? You can.
Yeah, you can be the generational breaker. The curse breaker is what we like to call it.
Because that's probably, and I've talked to Jordan about this, is probably something that I fear the most about being a father, is knowing that my father unknowingly passed things on to me. I'm terrified of doing that.
Yep.
Because I don't want my kids, especially my sons, to experience the things that I experience. Even though it's made me who I am, I love who I am, and I wouldn't change it. There was some times in my life where it was really 50-50 whether I was going to be here or not. Yeah. And I don't want them to go through that.
Yeah. I've had those moments.
Yeah.
I dealt with suicidal ideation from about 8 years old through till I was around 32 before this work begun. And yeah, you can be the generational curse breaker. That's not to say that your children won't have their own stuff to deal with, though. Why bottle it up and pass it on to them? Like, let them have a clean slate. Let them have their own. Yeah. And it's going to be so much easier for them. You can do all of the work for them, and you'll notice things when you clear it within yourself. Your parents will still have to do some work, but you'll clear things in them too. It's an energetic thing. It's there.
You're 100% right, because I got Dad on the podcast. I think it was my 3rd ever episode, and he had never spoken about his childhood. And I had never told him the things that I went through during my 20s, because he got taught as a kid to hide things. And he sort of passed it on to us.
It's tough and manly, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I grew up watching my mum and dad, even though it was a very peaceful and safe household, I never seen them argue.
Yep.
So I didn't know how to argue in a healthy way. I didn't know how to resolve conflict. I didn't know if they even went through anything tough, because I never seen them go through anything tough. So if I saw anyone's going through anything and watched them hide it, I was like, oh, I'll just hide it too. That's
under the rug.
Yeah, under the rug. That's what everyone else is doing. So I think in terms of my dad changing was when he came on the podcast and I made him a deal. He was really nervous, and I said to him, you tell me everything that happened to you as a kid, and I'll tell you everything that happened to me during my 20s. And he was like, fuck, all right, deal. And he's 68. And he had never spoken about it for 68 years. He had never spoken about it to anyone, not even mum. Mum was like, I didn't even know half the stuff that you guys talked about. And I remember him talking about his childhood when he was like, it all started when he was about 30. He's got 5 siblings, you know, range between 9 and 16. And dad's dad came back from the war. You know, you could call it PTSD, and got into drinking, got into drugs. Every single day would just flog the shit out of kids, you know, and to the point where dad was like, it wasn't just the flogging, it was almost the emotional and mental torture in terms of his dad would put nails in the kids' school shoes. So when the kids put the shoes on, there would be all nails in there. Or like he said his younger brother kept wetting the bed. So his dad came around with a belt and a rubber band and just tied around his dick so he wouldn't piss himself.
Oh wow!
You know, and like just they would, you know, there'd be like murdering of animals around the house and that sort of this really like sadistic sort of stuff that it was. Dad's like it wasn't just the floggings. It was, you know, dad's dad was raping his mum every night, and dad's, you know, bedroom. He's 16 years old, and you could hear it every single night. So it's like that mental torture that dad was sort of dealing with. But when he was telling me this on the podcast, you know, I was listening to it and I was trying to be present, but at the same time, I'm like, this is horrific.
Yeah, and probably making sense of, this is.
I said that to myself.
Why I'm like,
I had inner
I've
dialogue.
got so much happening.
I remember saying to myself, I get it. I get why you are the way that you are, because I was always, you know, you talked about the word triggered. I would always question why he reacted the way that he reacted in certain situations. And I was always asking mum, like, even when I was a kid, I was like, why is dad like this? Yeah. And mum was like, you know, he's had a rough childhood. And I'm like, what's happened? So I was always questioning why dad. And I remember just finishing the podcast, and I said, I get you now. Like, I understand why you are the way you are. And like, since then, the way that he talks to me, the way that he presents himself to the world, the way that he shows love now is so much different. He doesn't take life so seriously. He doesn't take himself so seriously. He's a bit more relaxed. I think it was like 68 years of him really wanting to get it off his chest and talk to us about it. But I don't think we had the avenue to actually sit down and, you know, he said to me, he was like, if it wasn't a podcast setting and we had a date, a time, a location locked in, I don't think he would have revealed as much. Because if we did it at home, I think there was wiggle room for him to be like, it wouldn't tell me, you know, it would hide a little bit. So he goes, the settings that we had almost like encourage us to be most vulnerable.
He's felt safe in that. You've helped him feel safe to open up. His little boys felt safe and seen and heard.
Yes.
With no judgment. And that's like just even letting that off his chest after 68 years is
different
life-changing, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I remember because I told him about sort of my darkest moments of wanting to take my own life, and he was like, where did I go wrong? Like, what did I do? And the only thing that sort of came to mind in that moment that I really maybe wanted out of a father was modeling how to handle my emotions, or model to me how do I be vulnerable. You know, I didn't know how to. Yeah. Dad is such a good worker, the most hardworking person. Like, will put everyone on his back, put the armor on. You know, nothing phases him. Yeah. And I saw dad as a superhero. Yeah. You know, I saw dad like nothing can hurt dad, and I tried to be like that. Yeah. But I failed. I was just like, I couldn't live up to that. Like, there were so many things where I was like, I wonder what dad would do. And it just seems like dad would just truck on with it. Like, you know, I just couldn't do it. Like, they're the things I got really, really down about it. And I felt ashamed. I felt guilty. I felt embarrassed that I felt like that, even though my dad was such a strong man. Yep. I felt like, how can you sort of not blame him, but how can you ask him to model that to me? Like, why can't you just be more like him?
I've always asked my guests, what are your 3 non-negotiables for living a healthy and full life? For me, it's movement, community, and good nutrition. I've learned that what you fill your body with plays a massive role in how you feel physically and mentally. That's why I use True Protein. They're an Aussie brand doing things the right way. clean, natural supplements with no artificial additives or fillers. Everything's made in-house in Sydney's northern beaches using the highest quality ingredients sourced from around the world. Whether it's supporting energy, improving focus, or reducing fatigue, their products genuinely help me show up better every single day. And just like Mind Your Head, they live by values I stand by. Be true, be you, and take care of your whole self.
Yeah, well, before my dad, 66 when he passed, so similar age back, and they've grown up in the similar era of the wooden ships and iron men.
Yeah.
And very much the same, keep on trucking, just got to do. And for that era, that's what worked. That was great. Though, again, we're paying the price for it now with what's being passed on to us. And very similar, I have done so many breathworks and journeys and all the things and work around. Like I had a really great childhood. There's a lot of things that in my circumstances people would go, oh, maybe you haven't. Though I look back on a lot of my childhood as great. Though diving in on the work, my dad would always come up. Like I cleared a lot of things in myself around my mum and my sisters, but my dad would always pop up in my breath. I'm like, and out of all my family, he and I had the greatest relationship. Loved him. He was affectionate. He showed me love in his way. And I'm like, what is it? Why is he continually showing up? I'm like, oh, is it because he's passed, or all these questions? And it wasn't until I was in Miami at the beginning of this year with some really pivotal people providing the type of work that we provide that been doing it for a lot longer, and I was able to join them and learn and do a few things. And it was something actually Dane Muller said, and he was talking about that his mum had passed, but he still had to forgive his mum, and great relationship. I'm like, just landed. I'm like, I need to forgive my dad. And it wasn't for anything that he had done. It was the things that he didn't do. Like you said, he didn't show me how to regulate my emotions. There was an unconscious resentment within me about the things that he didn't show me, because they're all the things that were showing up in my life and affecting my relationship. So even though I place no blame, there's an unconscious resentment within me about the things that he didn't show me. And that changed a lot of things for me. I was just like, it was like my body relaxed a little bit more again. He didn't show up in the ways that he was showing up in my breath works and things like that. It was completely different. So,
man, I feel that.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. And it's a really beautiful thing, because the forgiveness isn't for them, it's for yourself. It's like, now I can let go of that piece of me and move on. And you mentioned earlier, it's like you don't want to pass those things on to your children, which is really important, because, again, I like you, there was like for a lot of my life, I thought the world would be better off without me. And I'm like, cool. And I was like, I never wanted to die, but I'm like, it's going to be better off, So it was moments of like, and hid it my entire life until it had to be said. Nadine found me in the bottom of the shower one morning. She's like, what's wrong? She kind of knew, but we never broached the subject. And I'm like, I'm just trying to convince myself of why I should be here. And again, tough love moment. She said, like, this conversation, this is a brief caption of the conversation, but she was like, at the end of it, she's like, nobody's fucking coming. But think of the strength within her to be able to say this to the person outside of herself that means the most to her, and the trust in herself of like, if he doesn't do what I think he should do and takes his life, I know it's not me. That takes a really strong woman. She said, nobody's fucking coming. She goes, I can't ride this for you, though I can ride it with you. And at that point, like yourself, everyone had sort of shown me love and stuff, and I'm just like, that's the last thing I really need to hear right now, without knowing it was the best thing in my life that I ever needed to hear. And it was a couple of days later when it landed, I was like, yeah, holy shit, nobody's coming. And I stopped doing this and started doing this. And it still wasn't, I still didn't dive into the work straight away, but though it was through my eldest son where I'd start to see, he was a beautiful mirror for me. Our children are our greatest leaders. He was a beautiful reflection of me, because everything I hated within myself, I was seeing through him. The self-doubt, the lack of confidence, all of it.
Wow.
And I was just like, fuck.
I'm doing it.
If I do not do this for myself and I don't end up taking my life, there's a huge possibility that when Madden is 16 or 17, I'm going to be going to his funeral because he'll take his own life. And that is the reality of it. And knowing that and being conscious of that, and if I hadn't have started doing things for myself, like, how could you ever live with that? Knowing that you had the possibility to change your life, to change your children's lives. Like, so that, like, if anyone takes anything from this conversation, that alone should be enough for you to go, okay, it's time for me to do something.
And I think, like you just said there, I think that was my biggest motivator too, was how do I want to be a father? You know, how do I want to father my kids and the man that I want to be? Because if I kept going the way that I was going, I was either going to die or I was going to have kids and then pass things on and do what you just did then and look at that, you know, small version of yourself and go, shit, I'm passing it on to them. And that was the biggest sort of motivator for me to actually start finding out who I am, why am I like this, and there's still so much more to go, and I understand that, and I've just started my breathwork journey as well. And it's been honestly the craziest journey so far, because I had an experience not too long ago where it went for about, the session was meant to go for 20 minutes. I only made it through about 15 minutes. 5 minutes, I was like, this isn't doing it then. I'll keep doing it anyway. The deep breaths, the holds on the hold on the exhale, hold on the inhale, and do the 30 deep breaths. And we were going through it, and then it got to 10 minutes. And that feeling that you get when you're about to start crying or you start getting a little bit emotional, that was starting in my belly. And I was thinking, oh, fuck, there's something coming up here. I started to feel a bit nauseous.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, keep going, keep going. I was like, righto. And then sort of eyes were closed, and I could feel my lips started to quiver a little bit. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then my eyes started to really get glazed over, and they all pretty much started to cry. And it got to a point of me, I couldn't do the breaths. I couldn't keep up with the breaths. And then the guy was like, just stop. What are you feeling? I was just crying. Yeah. And I think why it scared me so much was because as we get taught when we were kids, especially young boys, crying's bad, crying's negative. The only times that I cried was never happy tears. I always cried when I was losing control, when I was angry, when I was upset. So when these tears and all this emotion started coming up, I immediately associated that with negative. Yep. And then I ran away. I wanted to quit. I was like, this can't, why am I getting angry at this? And then it wasn't until the drive home, and then a couple of days later when I really self-reflected on that session, I go, why did it scare you so much? And it was because
of what you're being told.
Well, I was a bit told that emotion was negative. Every time that I've cried in my life, heartbreak, losing someone, anger, that's what I've associated that with. And then it wasn't until not too long ago where I've realized, I think there's something missing. Well, I feel like there's something missing, that I've done a lot of work trying to figure myself out and figure my history and my family's history, understand that little version of myself. And I've dissected parts of my life that I think contributed to some of the choices that I've made. And I've sort of talked about it on other podcasts with one of my biggest things is loyalty and having someone's back. And I think that came from, I was getting bullied by some of my brother's friends growing up. And it wasn't the bullying. I can handle bullying. But the thing that I think that really got me was my brother knew and my parents knew about the bullying, and they didn't do anything about it. And I had to do something about it. And I pulled a knife, went to the kitchen and got a knife out. And I didn't think of that at all during that moment. I just thought, I've just got to defend myself. But I think what snowballed into that, and it's no fault of my parents or my family or anything like that, what snowballed was the thought that if something bad was happening in my life, I couldn't count on anyone. And then I just developed that into I've got some really close friends, but I kept them away. Yep. I had girlfriends at the time. They didn't know anything about it.
Plays out in every single relationship.
Every single relationship, I kept everyone at arm's length. They knew exactly how much I wanted them to know about me. I didn't hold any trust with them. I didn't tell them the deepest, darkest secrets. I kept them as like an acquaintances, even though they were girlfriends or even though they were close friendships. I didn't feel like I could trust anyone. And then that developed into when I was going through some really, really difficult times where I just hid everything and put a mask on and just told everyone I was okay. And it wasn't until early this year where we're driving home from the airport. I just finished working out the mines. We're driving home, and the chats that Jordan and I have from Brisbane to Sunny Coast are amazing. Yeah, like we got an hour, and we just get into how was your week, and then we talk about things. And she went really quiet, and I just thought she was a little bit tired. And then she said to me, "Do you have trouble telling me things, or do you have trouble opening up to me?" This is 7 years into a relationship, and I thought I was all good. Yeah, and what happened from that was me crying from North Lakes all the way home to the point I couldn't talk. I was the crying, and I've never cried like that. It was uncontrollable tears, and I was trying to like talk and explain why I'm crying, and we didn't say anything. I cried the whole way back.
How did you feel after? Yeah, cool. So, your breath work. Breath work is one of the most underutilized tools that we have as human beings. It is your gateway to release and to receive. Like, I'm not sure of your experiences yet, though what you can open up for yourself through breath work after you release is magic. Yeah. We have no idea about what we don't know about. And we get to experience so many people journey using plant medicine and all those things, which is great.
Have you tried that?
Plant medicine? Yeah, I have. I have. Yeah. Though my most profound journeys have all been through breath.
Really?
Not using an external resource, myself. Yeah. Because we are our answer. It's such a privilege as human beings to feel. It's our God-given right and privilege to feel. All the emotions are great. Anger, sadness, grief, love, all of them. It's an absolute privilege to feel them all in a healthy way. And there's two things that happen when we're born. We take our first breath and we cry. It's a sign of life. Crying is a sign of life. And as men and a lot of women are killing themselves emotionally by blocking all this. So yeah, we get to cry when we're sad, we cry when we're happy. There's no greater feeling than driving down the road and seeing a sunset and all of a sudden you start crying, just full of pure gratitude. And you're not even sure why, but you're just like so happy and the tears start rolling. Like it happens to me all the time because I've cleared myself of those blocks and there's always going to be more blocks on a continuous journey of healing and growth. So to stop yourself and not allow yourself to have those feelings, it's selfish for yourself.
And that's what I think I had to learn to do, and I'm still learning to do, is remove the blockages. So when I have those moments, because I don't happen often enough, when I do have them, I cry for an hour. I cry the whole way back to the sunny coast. And man, it felt good. It felt so good. And in that moment, I had to be honest with her that I often hide myself from her or from other people to act a certain way to make sure, because one of my big insecurities is that I'm dealing with at the moment is because I've been so open about my mental health and the times that I struggled and the darkest times that I went through. My insecurities is people thinking that I'm unstable. Especially Jordan, I was really fearful of being damaged goods or being looked at like if I have a bad day, she might think that I'm back in that old version of Elliot again. Yeah, I wanted her to see me as Superman. Yeah, I wanted her to know that I'm going to be reliable. I'm not going to be that person that I was. I'm not going to slip into a bad headspace. Like, I'm going to be here for you no matter what. But me being that person became unreliable. Yep. Me being trying to be that person, she could tell that I was putting a front on, almost performative. Yep. And I wanted her to see me like
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, we're actually like for men, and it's just something that's been modeled to us as to we're hold the frame, we're the supportive, we're the protector, and we are. Though at the same time, like when she, the moments in the car when you're opening up to her, when you're most vulnerable, that's when she sees you as Superman.
She said that.
That's when she sees you as our vulnerability is what strength is. That's where strength comes from, our vulnerability, and it's in those moments where you open yourself up, you allow yourself to be held by the feminine, that she sees you as a Superman. We're actually, as men, we're doing women a disservice, and part of why they're here by not letting them hold us in our vulnerable states. Like it's part of their innate energy within to hold the masculine in the feminine, that love for us to be. Everyone thinks the masculine's strong, which it is, though you will never feel strength like you will from being held by the feminine. Like, think about it. They create life inside them. Yes, we play a part in that too, but women and the feminine create life. That's power. Okay, and for us not to allow, like we're doing ourselves a disservice, though for us not to allow them to do part of why they're here on earth is a huge disservice.
Do you think that's the narrative or the misconception that a lot of men have in today's society, is that, for you to be masculine is for you to have that armor on or vulnerability, that's a weakness.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see on your retreats, especially with men, is almost unlearning those stereotypes or those, those bad habits?
Oh, straight away. Like within the first hour or so of the men's and women's retreats, the biggest thing for us is trust. So we need to provide safety for the men and women that come on in our spaces, and then for them to learn to trust us really quickly so they can get as much out of the weekend as possible. Though we do that by throwing them into some really uncomfortable situations really early. And when they open up and share these certain things with the men that are there and how similar all their stories are, they're like, oh, I'm not the only one. And there's so much comfort and safety within that as well, of being vulnerable. Like the last men's retreat where there was some really country boys on there, and they were just like talk 8-10 beers a night kind of thing.
Wow. And
this is a month ago and they still haven't touched a drop since they left. So and at the end of it, they're like, I don't know what just happened, but I never knew I could have so much fun without having beers. And that's what we bring into the healing work we provide, is fun. Because yes, there's going to be some moments, so we get to have so much fun along the way as well.
And that's the thing that I think it can be daunting, even when you were saying it before, when you look at the stuff when Nadine was doing, even when I look at some of the stuff where you guys are sort of expressing that emotion and sort of yelling and releasing all that. I've shown it to a couple of guys, and the country fellas and stuff like that, and they're just like, I would never be able to do that.
Yeah, most men that come into the space say they can't. It's because they haven't been shown how, and they've got this.
But they must be curious that they're coming in. At least they're.
Oh, 100%. So there's an element of safety already.
Yeah.
So there's an element of safety already, whether it's they've gained trust through what they see online, or there's a friend that's been, or their wife's been to a retreat, or they've been to a couples retreat together.
You'll love it.
Yeah. And again, everyone knows how to lose control, and yet most people don't know how to lose control and remain in control at the same time, which is what they get to do there, and just go nuts pretty much. There's so much of a build up to it, of a release. Like we're loosening the grip the entire time, and a huge block is that little boy. If I get angry, I'm going to get in trouble. If I allow my emotions to get the better of me, I'm going to get in trouble. So it's building an environment and space that is safe for them to know that it's okay here, so they can just let it go and bring themselves back to a baseline of
What is it about brotherhood that either we're missing that or we need to improve? Because I feel like it's amazing that with my friends group now, that we're all getting a little bit older, and a lot of them are getting into breathwork. A lot of them have gone through different stages of their life where they've dealt with conflict or hardship or suffering, and they've turned away from that traditional approach where it's drugs and alcohol, where it hasn't worked. They're sick of it. They're wasting money. They don't feel any better. We're not waking up like we did when we were 18, 19, like go to work. you know, and it's beautiful to see where we are now with my friends group, where the conversations that we're having, it could be surface level, it could be about footy, but if something needs to get said, it gets said.
Yep.
What happens when you go, especially on a men's retreat, when I feel like a lot of men don't have that close connection, that close brotherhood that they can lean on. Even, you know, you don't need, you know, 30 good mates. You know, you could just have one or two that you can chat to, you can lean on to call up.
Yeah.
Is that what you find a lot of them are missing in their life, is that close connection?
Deeper connection. A lot of them that come in and have the mates that'll go for a beer and get on the bag and all those types of things. I had them, and it's when they allow themselves to be seen and heard, or felt seen and heard as well through that. That's where, like, the men that come on the retreats, they form such a close connection in such a short amount of time. Like a huge piece for us is the post-retreat care as well and support. So they're all in groups, and there's different programs, and there's calls that there's.
They'd be best mates after it, wouldn't they?
Like, just it's like being on footy camp.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing in my head.
It really is. It's so cool, and we've created a space, because I remember what it was like to be on footy camps. You go for your Queensland camps or something like that, and it was so much fun. Yet for me, there was still a lot of fear and worried about judgment. Oh, if I drop the ball, what's everyone going to think? All that. Where here, it's not. It's like all of that armor gets to be left at the door. All of the fake ego gets left at the door, and they just get to come in and be them.
See you for who you are.
Yep.
Because I read a lot of Brene Brown, and she talks about sort of vulnerability and that sort of thing. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And she talks about sort of, you know, having that, you know, that deeper connection with someone. It's not about sort of how funny you are or how much money you have or how smart you are. You know, it's about being vulnerable with that person. That's like determining a long-lasting friendship or relationship. And just with the way you're talking now, like how long are the treats for the weekend?
49 hours.
49 hours.
Yeah, all up.
I can just imagine when people are being so vulnerable with complete strangers, and then realizing that everyone's here for the same goal. You know, I can imagine that connection, like after the weekend, would be incredible.
It's amazing. Like, one of the first things I say to the men when they arrive is I tell them all that I love them, because I genuinely do. It's something that as men we don't share and say enough of. I know, like, after a few beers, guys are I love you, mate. Like, well, but
say it to me sober.
Seriously, seriously. When I first started speaking about wanting to end my life with my wife and counsellors and all that thing, there was a mate of mine that I've had since I was 15 years old. He came around and we ended up getting on the drink and all the things, and it caused friction between myself and my wife, and then I opened up to him about it. Didn't hear from him for 6 weeks after that. And I was just like, fuck, I've just allowed myself and shared this, because growing up I was a guy that my mates had come to share if they were doing it a bit tough, which was fine. It makes sense to why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Though to do that, and knowing full well that some people do not have the capacity to take that on, though I was like, if he was a mate, at least like a text message or something the next day really opened my eyes up to that of, I need some people in my life that can hold me when I am being vulnerable and aren't fearful of it, even though they may not know what to do, but they're going to be there. So in that, I was like, that's a huge learning for me of, okay, this is something else men need.
Has your circle changed a fair bit, has it?
So much.
Has it?
So much.
Yeah.
I like to call it editing relationships. There's so many people that have been a big part of, and still my mates, though I just don't involve myself because I know where that goes.
It's going to go,
yeah. I could go somewhere, but if there's things happening in situations, I just take myself out of it straight away. But the big thing is I just don't put myself into areas and things like that now where it's going to go there. And I know there's enough within myself to not even be tempted by anything. However, I just don't want to be around it anyway, because just the shit talk and all of it, it's just not what it
doesn't make me feel good anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I remember that very vividly, because it's always been 2 years sober, and it's a decision that I wanted to make for years. Never enjoyed drinking. I enjoyed drugs because of the release, because of the escape. But at the same time, I knew it was bad. I knew it wasn't good for me. I was trying to still play professional footy while secretly, wanting to get on it. So as soon as the game finished, I was like, yes, let's go. Like I can really have for some fun now. And was toying with the idea for so long, but it's such an interesting thing. I can't speak for any other cultures, but Australian culture is just, if you don't drink, there's something wrong with you, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That every time I would go to not drink, they go, come on, mate, pull your head in, have a beer. And I'm like, yeah, righto then, okay.
Yeah.
And even those small things of me not wanting to do something but do it anyway because to fit in or to not get judgment or not to have that conversation with someone, there were little bits of me, little thoughts going, you don't respect yourself. And I think for me to get on a path of wanting to do things that I really want to do, I had to start not lying to myself and actually start believing in myself and actually start respecting myself. Because for a long time, I look back at the old habits and the old way of Elliot, I had no respect for myself at all. And it wasn't until I wanted to, are we good? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I always do a double check.
Oh, do you? I felt like I had no respect for myself because I was so fearful of being unreliable to other people.
Yeah.
But I was so unreliable to myself. I would tell myself that I would do things and I wouldn't do them. Even like just small things, I would always lie to myself. And I would always just like, you have no love for yourself whatsoever. You have no respect for yourself. Just start small. So it was like, I really wanted Jordan to look at me and go, if Elliot said something, he was going to do it.
Yeah.
Like be a man of his word. Follow through with it.
Yeah.
Because for years I wasn't. Like she said something to me.
That was my jam.
Oh, was it?
Oh, hugely.
Yeah. She said something to me and she didn't mean it to be, she never knew she was going to mean it to be so offensive to me. But she said something like, I told her I was going to mow the lawns, something little like that. And I didn't. And she's like, and I was going back out to work for the week. And she's like, oh, you told me you were going to do it. I guess I'll do it. And I thought about that for the whole, that cut me so deep because I just was like, you are pathetic. You told her you were going to do something. You didn't do it. What else is that infiltrating into your relationship?
Yeah.
And that sent me on a path of like, all right, no more. It's not going to be a big change straight away, but I got a cold plunge and sauna at my house. And I was like, every day, I don't care if it's winter, I'm jumping in for 2 minutes to the cold plunge. And then that became like, I had this idea of starting the podcast, but I was so scared to tell her because if I told her, I had to follow through with it.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I told her and she was just like, oh, I'm proud of you. And I go, oh, thanks. And she goes, no, but now you have to do it. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And then, I made a decision almost 2 years ago now where I had a Blink-182 concert in Brisbane and I was 30 of my best mates. That was our soundtrack to our childhood. Like most people's.
Yeah.
That was like every music we listened to when we were finishing school, ready to like go to someone's house to drink beers or try to drink beers. Blink-182 was playing and it was 30 of our best mates. And I didn't tell anyone, but I remember being in the mosh pit with some of my best friends that I'm still best friends with now and thinking to myself, this is it. This is the last time I'm going to do this.
Yep.
Loved it, had fun. I smoke bombed early. I left and I was thinking to myself, no more, never again. And there was no time frame on it. There's like, oh, I'll stop drinking for a year or whatever it is. I don't identify myself as someone that drinks.
Yep.
I don't count the days, even though because it was so recent. I know the Blink-182 concert, but it's been one of the gateways for me because it's something I wanted to do for so long. And it's brought me so much happiness and joy, not just from not drinking, but that decision to not drink.
Yep.
The
and
decision, following through with it,
yep.
and like actually doing what you're going to say you're going to do.
Yep.
And that's infiltrated to so many more things in my life where it's almost become like a...
well, that's the stake in the ground moment for you. And it's you've given yourself evidence now of, oh, I can do it. So your unconscious mind and your whole body's like, oh, I can say and do what I say I'm going to do. So that's your moment.
Yeah, it was one.
And you're going to have like...
Did you have yours?
Not as clear as that. However, again, so there's a huge attachment for young boys, young men, Friday afternoon, Thursday, go and have a beer at the pub. Because who do they go to? Generally, who do they go and have a beer with? First beer ever. It's with their dad.
The dad, yeah.
So there's an emotional attachment there to begin with, because that's when you get to be a man with your dad, right? Unconsciously.
That weird rites of passage, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
as soon as you have a beer with your dad, you're a man.
Yep, exactly. And then, like for me, going to catch up with my dad on a Friday afternoon after work was like one of my favourite things, but it was always with beers and things like that. So footy, the culture, beers, all of it was always a part of it. Then when I started sort of doing the deeper work and losing or removing my identity or attachment to the person I used to be I was a footy guy and I was sporty and I was fit and all that like I haven't watched football in like 2 years.
Yes.
Like and it was the biggest part of my life. I haven't watched State of Origin, nothing. I got no idea. No idea.
Is that surprising to you?
Not now.
Not now?
Not now.
Shit is for me.
Yeah. Like if it's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But the TV's never on in our house either. So even with our kids, we'll watch some documentaries and stuff with them, but it's not like TV's on, and which left the attachment to the beer. Yeah. And like I loved a nice cold beer, but there was a point where I think I'd finished some work, and then I was like, I'm going to go just have a feed and have a beer. I was with some friends, and I had a sip of the beer, and I hated the taste of it. Like it was like that. And since then, I actually haven't had a beer.
It's
like
beautiful.
It just lost, and this is years ago now as well.
Yeah,
So.
And it's also helped me to look further into myself, because having a beer was always hiding the insecurities about myself being in a public setting. Yeah. So it was always like, this is my safety net. Yeah. As soon as I have this, I'm going to be the real version of me. People are going to love me. They're going to think I'm funny. I'm going to have jokes. I'm going to be more comfortable. Which was all a lie. I thought it was bringing out the best version of myself, but it wasn't. And it was actually bringing out the worst version of myself. Yep. And it wasn't until I stopped drinking and then went, I still keep social, see my friends. It was almost like, shit, I don't have this safety net. I don't have this thing holding in my hand. I don't have maybe the courage or the confidence or anything like that, or get outside of my own head because I get a little bit of social anxiety when I'm going into large settings, thinking, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? And that first beer was like, I'm good now.
And all that is a fear of judgment within yourself.
Yes.
And you have no idea what anyone else is thinking about you. You're just judging yourself. So.
Exactly. And I think that someone asked me, a mate's girlfriend asked me about the podcast, and she's like, have you always enjoyed sort of chatting to people? And I'd never really thought about it like this, but this started because of my insecurities of chatting to people in a social setting. What I found was if I started to get really, really anxious and I didn't have a beer or anything to numb that or make me feel better, what I actually found was just going up to someone and asking them questions. And what that did was, within 5 minutes of me engaging with them and being present and asking questions, hearing what they're saying, it would get me out of my own head. It would get away with those anxieties. I'd feel relaxed and I'm engaging in a conversation. It always became my coping mechanism.
It's like you're connecting with human beings.
Yes, which is funny that's how I've referred it to. Whereas I used to connect with this beer.
Yep.
And that used to be my gateway to talk to someone instead of being present and asking, how backwards is that?
So backwards.
So backwards.
And it's something that we've been shown and taught and modeled, and it's breaking those patterns again and again and again.
What's the hardest lesson that you've had to learn about being vulnerable or being masculine?
That it's all me.
What do you mean?
Everything is me. Circumstances add to that I have created everything in my life. Like the good, the bad, the not, like all of it. It's always been me. The choices that I have made throughout my life have put me in the circumstances that I'm in. Again, as a young boy, maybe I didn't have the capabilities or the capacity for choice back then when you're 5 or 6 years old, though I had them later on in life. And knowing that I could continue to blame my circumstances or take the blame and own my part in it, because I could sit here and sob the rest of my life, or I could go, yep, that happened to me. Let's do something about it and move on.
This episode is brought to you by TLC Recovery Centre on the Sunshine Coast. Whether you're chasing peak performance or just need to reset, TLC has everything you need. Infrared saunas to help detox your body, reduce inflammation, improve circulation and calm the nervous system, leaving you feeling lighter, clearer and more recovered after every session. They've got cold plunges to reduce inflammation, boost mood and mental clarity and build resilience. They've got compression boots to speed up muscle repair and massage therapists who know exactly what your body needs. But what really sets TLC apart? The people. The owners are the kind of good humans you want in your corner. Down to earth, genuinely care, and deeply invested in the local community. Head to TLC Sunshine Coast, use the code TLC15MYH to receive 15% off and experience it for yourself.
Was that freeing to come to that awareness and go, I've always had the control. I've always had the power to change my life. And because I recently read a book called The Courage to Be Disliked. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with it.
No, I'm not.
It's great. It's a great read. And it's a professor and a student. And the student's complaining about why his life is the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the professor's saying, you chose this life.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I didn't choose this. This is my dad. This is what my dad did to me. And he goes, yeah, but this is how you're reacting to it.
Yeah.
So it's a great read because I was that student. I was that boy.
We've all been that boy.
Going, oh, I'm like this because I got injured, or what happened at home, or my friends, or at school, or because I was so into people pleasing. I wanted all this attention. I wanted friends, that when it did happen the way that it happened, I would kick the dummy. I would blame everyone else. Like I remember we went through a stage where I missed out on a contract to go play in the Western Force over in WA because I got injured. And I got injured because I was at a tournament that I wasn't meant to be playing at. So I blamed the people for making me go play, right? And then during my really dark times, I was thinking it's got to be the relationship in. So I broke up with a girl that I was dating. I was living with for 5 years, thinking that she was the problem, right? So it's our relationship.
What's the one common denominator in all of those things? So it's all us. It's only ever us. Yeah, it was one of the most challenging moments of my life of facing the man in the mirror, though the best lesson in my life as well. And that's the polarity and duality of life. Like going through some process, some unconscious mind work I was doing, I was riddled with self-doubt most of my life and would blame lots of different things as to why. And then during this process, I went back to a memory of when I was about 8 years old, a soccer trial, and I thought I was a lot better than I was. I was a great young soccer player, but there was someone in my team that I thought I was better than, and then he ended up beating me in this. And I started laughing. And the person that was doing the process was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "It's always been me. It's always been me. I put the self-doubt into my mind. I created my situations, and that really set me free. And always going to have some doubt pop up. Like to say that you never doubt yourself is really silly." Though now instead of it being an inhibitor, it's a driver. Like I'm like, oh, there's a bit of doubt there. Oh, cool. I get to prove myself. I get to doubt my doubt and prove myself wrong.
It's a wonderful place to be in to know that the work never stops.
Oh,
I've always got something to do.
Yep.
Every single day.
I'll share something openly with you here because I've allowed myself to do a lot of work. At the beginning of this year, I had a repressed memory come up. And it was through some child abuse. I was raped when I was 5 years old, and my wife helped me come back to it because I had some old things start popping up for me, some old patterns and behaviours. And Nadine, she knew something wasn't right. When she helped me go to this place of remembrance, and it came up for me, and was able to move through it and acknowledge it and all the things. Though I got really angry with myself, because I had been doing all this work and all of these things. So I'm like, why the fuck hasn't this shown for me? Like I've done all this work, I've taken myself to the depths, and it really annoyed me until I had the realization of, and this is the work always continues. It's like I know that where I was in my life, I wasn't ready for it to show to me yet, for the lesson that I got from it. Because if it had happened 12 months earlier, the anger and rage I would have had against this person would have got me in a lot of trouble. Where, while I was upset and I was sad and there was anger, though I got to move through that really quickly, I went straight to compassion because I knew this person and I knew the life that he had. So not condoning anything, though just making sense of, I know why. Again, would I like to, and I'm like, again, with the work that I do, it helps me make sense of a lot of other people's. Like, I know what I've been through in my life is for a reason, and it is to do what I'm doing now. And that is one of those other reasons. So I get to help men, women that have been in similar situations even further. So I knew that at that moment, that was the right moment for me to move through that and for it to come up so I could learn a lot about myself. and the compassion and the amount of compassion I actually have within myself for a person that could do such a thing. Again, never condoning any of it, though just knowing that there was a reason as to why, and I get it.
It's interesting to understand that compassion through one of the most evil things you can do. And to find forgiveness. Wow.
What's like, again, if like forgiveness is not for anyone else other than yourself. He doesn't know that I've forgiven him. I don't have no idea where he is or what he's doing. It doesn't I could not care. Though, could you imagine the dis-ease and discomfort within my body if I was still hanging on to that?
How was it playing up in your life? If you don't mind me prodding a little bit.
No, that's fine. Just lots of old patterns and behaviours, the resentment, the triggers, the reactions, and all of these little things that weren't happening before. It was just ready to bubble and come to the surface. And gratefully, my wife, again, we're on this journey together. I could see it. She's got some beautiful gifts.
Does she?
Oh, so many. She can see and feel and do a lot of different things.
How did she react when these memories were coming? How was it through a breathwork practice, or how was it?
No, it wasn't. It was just we were lying in bed one night, and because there was fracture within the relationship, not within the relationship, but we were just butting heads, and things that wouldn't usually happen were happening. There was the blame coming in for me again, lots of little things like that, and again, doing the work that we have done and knowing and having that awareness around ourselves, she could see and sense something. She couldn't put a finger on it. She had a bit of an idea, and she just, because she'd asked a question prior, it's like, she was like, what happened to you? I'm like, I don't know, nothing. I'm good. Like,
You'd never spoken about it before?
I had no, it was an unconscious memory. So my unconscious mind will keep memories repressed for our safety until they're ready to be dealt with. And that was the time it was ready to be dealt with.
What did she say?
She was like, what happened? It was just a constant of what happened to you, what happened to you, what happened to you. Again, complete trust in what she does and complete trust in me to allow myself to go there. And again, through the work that we're continually doing for each other and ourselves, I was able to go to a point in my life that I hadn't previously remembered.
Wow.
To bring that up and bring that through. So,
and is the healing still going? Is it an ongoing
continuous.
process? Continuous.
Like our life, and this is the thing too, is like if you meet someone providing this work and they say that they're healed, steer clear of them, because no one's ever healed. We're on a continuous journey of healing. Yes, the initial work is to heal, and then you get to grow. And I believe there was a point in my time where I was like, because I'd done so much that I thought that I might have been healed. And everything shows up in our life for me to, and Nadine was like, no, it's a continuous. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on a continuous growth. But I looked at growth as expansion, and which it is, though there's always something to heal, because all of our trauma is always going to be there. It's never going to leave us. It's a memory, it's there. What we get to do is remove the emotional attachment to that memory. And that's how we separate ourselves from that trauma.
Wow. Because that's just sort of jogging memories from me as a kid. I think where I clung to rugby so much, and this is no fault for mum and dad, this is just my reality or how it felt for me, where because I was so bad at school and showed no interest in school, and I kind of felt like a failure. Kind of felt like my parents, even though I knew that they loved me, I kind of felt like they wished I was a better student or a better son, or I kind of was like, they don't feel proud of me. Even though that could have been further from the truth. So why I clung to footy so much was like their face when I walked off the footy field, when I had a good game, and the hug that they would give me, and the smile that was on their face was addictive.
Yeah.
They would never hug me like that ever. They would never sort of embrace me like that. I was like, like I love this. I want this all the time.
Yep.
But that happened every Saturday. And then during the week, it wouldn't be like that. They would hug and stuff like that, but it wouldn't be that warm, like tight embrace that I'll get after a game of footy.
Nothing to do with them, everything to do with you.
Yes,
that
everything
was
to
how
do with me.
Whatever age that begun at, that's how your little boy,
15.
that's how you thought you had to receive love.
Yes.
So, and it was very similar for me too. Growing up, if I didn't succeed on the football field, there was no one harder on me than me. If I didn't score the try, or I missed the tackle, or that, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not worthy of love. I haven't done my job to receive the love that I deserve, so I'm not worthy of it.
Fuck. This is a conversation that Jordan and I had, because I always felt like I had to earn the love.
Yep.
And it wasn't until the relationship I got with Jordan where it was unconditional. And that was almost off-putting. Not off-putting, but it was uncomfortable. I was like, what I haven't done anything to warrant this.
Did you start to push away?
Massively.
Yeah.
I don't...
Fucking weird human beings, aren't we?
Yeah, and it wasn't until I had to like embrace that unconditional love. Like no matter what, she's going to love me, but I didn't feel like I was worthy of it.
Yep.
I haven't done anything. Why do you love me? They're the questions I would ask her.
Yeah.
And then she's got her own stuff bringing into it too. So it was two of us trying to like deal with that, the little version of themselves. And you mentioned sort of Nadine and how pivotal she's been in your life. How has she shaped the person that you are today? An impact that she's had on you?
I used to think that I owed Nadine. And I speak about this on our retreats. I used to think that I owed her because of what she helped me through. And what I know now is that I don't owe her anything. I owe myself. And to show her, I just get to live my life how I want to live it, full of love, full of joy, which actually is repayment for her. I know that we've experienced lifetimes together. There's what we have and what we do is like, again, we experienced professional help, and that person told us to go our separate ways, and so grateful that we stayed strong because of what we're doing now. And it's just proof to anyone that we were in a really bad way. Proof to anyone that like everything is worth fighting for. If there's that ounce of belief in you, then do it. Like then fight for it, because everything is worth fighting for, that you feel love for. Yeah. So she's seen me for me. Saw me for me when I couldn't even see myself. Yeah. She had belief in me when I couldn't believe in myself. She gave me the evidence of, I am worth this. I am worthy to stay. And it's the evidence and what she's done for herself that I got to learn through and learn from. So yeah, she's everything.
We'd be two different people sitting here if we didn't have the partners that we had.
That's the beauty. And I know that she would say the same. It's my story for her is very different from her story from mine, though we're here here for that reason. So yeah. Beautiful.
You talked about earlier the breath work, and I'd love for the people listening to get some practical tips and strategies to dealing with stress or regulating themselves. I know that's something that I'm very interested in as being a future father is teaching my kids how to regulate themselves, because it's something that I never was shown in terms of not just breath work, but regulating stress, even putting words and feel words to feelings and understanding what these mean. Maybe almost getting rid of the unhealthy and healthy terms when it comes to emotions. I think they're all valid. They're all valid. They all have their place. What are some tips and strategies and
breathwork changed my life, especially the longer holotropic style that we provide.
So how long is it?
It's about an hour.
An hour?
Yeah. you wanna go to the depths? Come and try one of these. Like it was designed many years ago to help release, and I
can't even do 15 minutes.
Yeah, you can. You can. Yeah, everyone can. Everyone's a professional breather. We've been doing it our entire lives. So it's just we change up the rhythms.
Wow.
Though, again, like I was saying, there's a gateway for us to release and to receive. Like you want to experience what it's like to connect with past loved ones. It can happen through breath work. You want to experience past lives. It'll happen through breath work. Like DMT is a natural chemical that we have in our body. And through certain styles of breath work, this DMT will release and you journey. You can go do that with plant medicine, or you can do it through your own breath.
You get the same effects through breath.
Yep. So have to come and try it sometime.
Yeah.
Though, in my opinion, breath work is probably the quickest way to regulate your nervous system. Everyone's nervous system's tapped, and it can be as simple as just taking a moment and 3 conscious breaths just to calm yourself. Though anyone that I work with, I'm actively getting them to add breath work in their day, and you don't have to go do a 15-minute or an hour-long breath work. It can be 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Literally, get home from work before you get out of the car.
Yeah.
Regulate that nervous system so you can be calm, be present with your family, with your kids when you get in the house. Even if you're not needing it, do it because you're building a resilience and a tolerance within your body. So when you do hit fight or flight, it's not up here, it's just here. So daily conscious breathing, because we breathe unconsciously, the daily conscious breathing, it can just be simple of 2 minutes of just circular breathing in and out your nose, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then there's so many different things you can do. You can bring in breath retentions, and there's so many avenues for breath. You just find one that works for you. Again, you might find one online that's for, it could be an energetic breath. Though if you have the intention behind it to relax you, then that's what it's for.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because something that I have noticed within myself that it's been a bit of a habit with me is that I always have trouble falling asleep. And my remedy to that was work my ass off as much as I can throughout the day, like completely flog myself so that then when my head hits the pillow, I'm ready to go to sleep. Yeah. But what would normally happen was I would be still awake, my mind would be racing, and I would be tired.
Yeah.
So that's where sort of I've noticed that I've got to make some changes in my life where I need to calm the nervous system before I go to sleep. Yeah. Because my head is not racing in a negative way. I just have ideas or thoughts or things I want to do with my life, or all these sort of moments where, of reflection and goal setting. That happens at 8 o'clock when I go to bed. Yeah. It doesn't happen in a productive time throughout the day. It happens just before I go to bed. And they're the things that I've realized in my life where I was like, okay, I need to know how to switch this off.
Yeah. And breathwork's a huge help for that because it's going to get you out of here and into here. Yeah. Where everyone's in their head at some stage. Like for me, I used to massive trouble getting to sleep. So I'd podcast or a Audible or something like that to think I was switching my brain off, though. It's just I was really fearful of actually being alone in my thought. I didn't know that until later on, though, which is a lot of people can't sit in silence or unable to because they actually have to start thinking about things and not the future goals or plans, just about themselves. So breath work was a huge piece of that for me, just that regulation before bed of that relaxation, out of here, into here. Which so many people talk about mindset, and it's a really great thing to have, though it's mindset that's actually getting people in their head. Yeah. So we really focus on getting people out of the mindset into the heart.
Into the heart.
Yeah, huge.
Have you seen, like, what's been your sort of your favourite memory or moment during a retreat, during a breathwork session, or where it's sort of blown you away, and you're sitting there, you're thinking, this is why I do this?
Oh man, there's been so many. Like the most recent women's retreat.
Was that last?
So last Saturday night was the women's breathwork, and it's a build up to that, to a huge release. And again, this style of breath that we use is all about release, and it's a beautiful thing because after you, like, there's that edge for everyone, and it's really scary. It might show up and you might see something or feel something within your body, and it's might be discomfort or something, but that's the edge and that's the fear in you wanting to release. And as soon as the ladies push through that edge, and again, we're giving them evidence of once you finish this hard bit or this fearful bit, everything else is beautiful. And it's just really cool to listen to the stories after of like, oh, fuck, that was hurting here and I didn't know if I should scream and I screamed. But after that, then they get to connect with past loved ones. A lot of the ladies had miscarriages, so they get to connect with their babies they never met and see them and feel them. And there's so many beautiful things. And I've had, like Nadine and I experienced loss last year with babies, and I've been able to meet them through breath, you know, like it's such a beautiful thing. And for people to allow themselves to do that and then get to fully grieve that properly as well, like I'll always love those sessions, any sessions, like, and like men that haven't allowed themselves to grieve their grandfathers or their fathers or their sons or their mates, they get to experience them and grieve and just what can happen for anyone through a breathwork is
extraordinary.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
Even in on grief, I feel like a lot of people that I know, a lot of men that I know, actually don't know how to grieve.
Nah, no one does.
No one does.
No. Like a lot of the work that I get to do in one-on-one or the group settings, grief is a big part of what we work with, and grief can show up in many different ways. It may not be from a loved one loss. It could be from grieving a relationship, or there's so many ways you get to grieve. Though a lot of time these memories pop up of when kids are, or these men or ladies are 4 and 5 years old, about their first pet passing.
Yeah.
And it's what we do as parents of, oh, it's okay, we'll get another one. It's okay, we'll get another, and not allowing. That's how we're shown how to grieve young. And again, move on, no blame, move on.
Yeah.
And so we're not allowed to grieve. And like grief is one of the most beautiful things ever. Like society tries to push everyone through grief really quickly because they see it as holding on to sadness. So you're actually loving so deeply because you're going to miss someone so much. So grief for me is one of the most beautiful experiences any human being gets to go through. Yeah, sad, though you get to love so deeply.
You get to feel this.
You get to feel all of it. Like my view on grief now, and I never grieved my grandfather properly. He passed. I was really close to passed in my early 20s, and I got to experience that through my very first breath work.
Wow.
He showed for me, and I got to I never got to say goodbye to him because it was all of a sudden, and I really felt guilty about that. Though it wasn't no one's fault. I got to experience saying goodbye to him. I got to experience grieving for him properly. Like he was there. I felt like I was holding his hand, and all he said to me was, "It's okay." And that was the most beautiful thing. And that okay has played out in so many areas of my life. Like, oh, it's okay. It's okay you didn't do this 100%. It's okay that you might not have got exactly where you wanted to on this day. Like it's played out in so many ways. Yeah. And our view on grief now, again, we lost a little girl the beginning of last year, and how we've modelled grief and loss to our boys is, I mean, we are so open spiritually, and that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. However, I know, and it's, my spirituality isn't based to religion, though. I know there's a God-created deity of somewhere or some sort, and that is my belief. And we allow our boys to feel them like children are the most open people in the world. Right. And she shows up for them. Baby P is her name, and she shows up for them in different ways, maybe an animal or a lizard or something. And they're like, oh, Baby P's here. It just helps with the grieving process of loss, though they're still here. We took the same approach in with Nadine's dad, of just this beautiful grief journey. We cared for him in home, and then it got a lot for us. He had dementia and had a stroke, so he was in a home and passed in a home. However, we opened up that avenue, and Grandpa shows up as a magpie for the boys all the time, and it's so cool. That's cool. And then no, like he's at the door every day. Every morning. I love that. Like they get to go, hey, Grandpa, how you doing? And then, again, my dad passed 12 months ago this month. And I get asked the question, well, how was it? Like, I look back at that moment. Like, I would love for him to still be here. Though I look back at that moment as one of my most favourite moments. He was 66 when he passed. We cared for him in his final week at home. That's all he wanted. He wanted to pass in his castle. So we got Nadine being a former nurse. We were able to really care for him and make that final wish for him come true. Yeah. I got to share his final moment. My hand was on his heart. I felt his last heartbeat. People probably think that's really sad and morbid. And yeah, it was sad though. For me, he brought me into this world. He was there the moment I took my first breath. I got to share with him his last. Wow. So I'm always going to look at that moment and that experience is one of my most favourite experiences of my life. Just, it's completely, and we share a lot of our time and our moments like that through socials, just to show people that grief doesn't have to be what society says it is. And it's always going to be sad. Though grief gets to be full of love and fun and joy at the same time.
It's incredible. I've just got some final questions before we finish off.
Shoot.
If you could sit down with your younger self during some of your darkest moments, what would you say to him?
It's all going to be okay. That okay has played out for me so long. Like, I'd actually be real. I'd say it's all going to be okay, and I'd thank him. Thank him for being the person that he is, because he's helped me get to where I am today.
Who's your hero?
Yeah, my dad. Yeah. I've got so many names just ran through my head. There's me, my dad, my wife, and my two boys. Yeah.
Multiple heroes for different...
Yeah, for different reasons.
Different reasons, yeah. What's your deepest fear?
Living a mediocre life. And that doesn't mean with money or things. It means living my life not full of love and not full of joy.
What's the question you most hope people will ask themselves after listening to this episode?
I'm ready to face the man in the mirror.
Love that. Last one. What's your proudest moment?
I've got so many. Every moment I'm proud of. And yet, I never want to have a proudest moment. I just want all my moments to be proud.
Love that. I do have a closing tradition. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with it. So I don't ask the last question. I get friends and family. They send in questions for the guest.
Okay.
So hopefully Nadine's kept this a surprise for you.
Yeah, she definitely mentioned it on the way to the airport this morning. So.
Where is she? So she sent in. So apparently this is from her and your kids.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not sure. I've actually listened to this one. We'll see.
Hey, Dad. Which one of us, me, Madden, or Beckham, would you trust the most to drive the defender around for a full day, and why? If we all made a family band, what instrument would each of us choose to play, and why?
I love that.
Wow.
Well, I would love a defender too, actually.
Defender. I'm going to say Madden.
Yeah.
But he's almost 10.
He could drive it at 10.
Loves. Oh, yeah, and I'd taken him away shooting and hunting and stuff before, so he's learned to drive. But Madden, just because he loves cars.
Does he? Is that his thing?
Cars, right into cars. So I'll say Madden on that one.
And the band instruments?
The band instruments. I could see young Bexy boy on a saxophone or something.
That's cool.
Yeah. Madden on guitar because he loves guitar.
Yeah.
I'll take drums and Nadine can be vocals.
Yeah, nice. I love that. And then last one.
Hey, my love, if you were banned from telling dad jokes for an entire year, how would you survive? When all is said and done and your time here is complete on this earth, what's the one thing that you most want to be remembered for, both by humanity and by your family?
Wow. I love that.
That's a deep one.
That's a deep one.
Dad joke. I'm not sure I would survive without dad jokes. I'd start calling them mum jokes because she's got some pretty good ones. That's how I'd survive. Yeah. Gotta love a good dad joke.
Yeah.
How do I want to be remembered by my family and humanity? as an example, by humanity and my family, by humanity of what's possible. I know it's really, you hear it, if I can do this, so can you, and though it's true. Like I was just a kid from a small country town called Coonabarabran that didn't think much of his life. I've learnt to love every moment of it. So if I could be that example for someone, I'd love that. And then for my family, again, for my wife and I would love to see, like in 2-3 generations, just when I'm no longer here and my wife's no longer here, to have our photo on the wall and whatever, like our great-grandchildren's or great-great-grandchildren's house, and just like, oh, that's what we model love from. That'd be really cool.
They're our heroes.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have a question for me before we finish up?
Are you ready to dive even further into yourself?
Yeah.
Cool.
Follow up.
Well, this is an invite now. Our next men's retreat's in March. I'd love for you to be on it.
That's scary as fuck.
Yeah. And why I say this is because you're doing some really beautiful things with the conversations you're getting to have, and that gets to create impact. Though we get to listen to the podcasts and read the books and implement some things that might be changing ourselves, though, if you want to completely shift your reality, and we get to do it.
I think let's do it, because I was saying it before, I feel like there's something, and there would be multiple things, but I truly feel like there's something that I haven't explored that I need to.
Yep.
You know, I've talked about a lot of the things from my childhood that affected me growing up, and it affected relationships. And even though I'm aware of those things and I'm actually trying to, you know, get better as a person, as a man, and be more aware of it, yet I still wake up every day thinking that there's something else that I need to be doing, which is why I lend into breathwork, which is why I've talked to my brother who does a lot of ayahuasca ceremonies. I'm curious around what that thing is that I haven't addressed yet.
Cool. We'll get to address it.
Lovely. Dane, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, having a chat with you, getting to know you a bit more personally, and thanks for being so open and sharing your story. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm so glad that we could do this.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I value my time, I value your time, and I just really appreciate you giving me time today to have these conversations. And like, again, thank you for your platform of wanting to share, because it's through conversations like these and others that you're having that people get to learn and maybe start to question themselves. And whoever that person is that you have on, there's going to be someone within that viewership that goes, and again, that's how you're creating your impact. And I just want to thank you for that.
Appreciate it. Means a lot. Thanks, mate. See you in March.
Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Mind Your Head. If you'd like to support the show, be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really supports the show and helps others discover us. Don't forget to join us on Instagram and TikTok at mindyourhead.podcast.